A Sexual Health Sexual Assault Organization Guide. Chapter 1. Sexual Health and Sexual Assault Organizations by U.S. State. Sexual Health and Sexual Assault Organizations from the agapecenter.com/organizations/specialties/sexuality.htm. AdvocateWeb.org, AdvocateWeb, professional sexual misconduct, sexual and emotional exploitation of clients by trusted helping professionals. Sexologist.org/links/academy.htm, American Academy of Clinical Sexologists, AACS. ASCT.org, American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists, AASECT. Sexologist.org, American Board of Sexology, ABS. Asserto.org, Australian Society of Sexuality Educators, Researchers, and Therapists, Assert, Australia, O. BASMT.org, UK, British Association for Sexual and Relationship Therapy, BASRIGHT, United Kingdom, UK. BSSM.org, UK, British Society for Sexual Medicine, BSSM, United Kingdom, UK. CTRSR.org, Centre for Sexuality and Religion, CSR. CPSDV.org, Centre for the Prevention of Sexual and Domestic Violence, CPSDV. Positive.org, Coalition for Positive Sexuality, CPS. EuropeanSexology.com, European Federation of Sexology, EFS. ESDA.eu.com, European Sexual Dysfunction Alliance, ESDA. SM.org, European Society for Sexual Medicine, ESSM. KinseyInstitute.org, Kinsey Institute, they. NFSHM.org, National Foundation for Sexual Health Medicine, NFSHM. NSVRC.org, National Sexual Violence Resource Center, NSVRC. SA.org, Sexaholics Anonymous, SA. SIECCAN.org, Sex Information and Education Council of Canada, SIECAN. SIECUS.org, Sexuality Information and Education Council of the U.S., SIECUS. SMSNA.org, Sexual Medicine Society of North America, SMS. SexScience.org, Society for the Scientific Study of Sexuality, SSSS. WorldSexology.org, World Association for Sexology, WAS. AspSH.ca, Alberta Society for the Promotion of Sexual Health, AspShare. U.S. state and local sexual health organizations. ACAR.org, Alabama Coalition Against Rape. NVSA.org, Alaska Network on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. AZSAN.org, Arizona Sexual Assault Network. CALCASA.org, California Coalition Against Sexual Assault. CCASA.org, Colorado Coalition Against Sexual Assault, CASA. CONSACS.org, Connecticut Sexual Assault Crisis Services, Inc. FCASV.org, Florida Council Against Sexual Violence. NISA.org, Georgia Network to End Sexual Assault, NISA. DeKalb Rape Crisis Center.org, DeKalb Rape Crisis Center, DeKalb County, Georgia. IDVSA.org, Idaho Coalition Against Sexual and Domestic Violence. ICASA.org, Illinois Coalition Against Sexual Assault. INCASA.org, Indiana Coalition Against Sexual Assault, INCASA. IowaCASA.org, Iowa Coalition Against Sexual Assault. KCSDV.org, Kansas Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence. CASAP.org, Kentucky Association of Sexual Assault Programs, Inc. CASAB. LawFASA.org, Louisiana Foundation Against Sexual Assault. MICASA.org, Maine Coalition Against Sexual Assault. MCASA.org, Maryland Coalition Against Sexual Assault. JaneDoe.org, Massachusetts Coalition Against Sexual Assault and Domestic Violence, Jane Doe Inc. MCADSV.org, Michigan Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. MNCASA.org, Minnesota Coalition Against Sexual Assault. MCASA.net, Mississippi Coalition Against Sexual Assault. MOCASA.Missouri.org, Missouri Coalition Against Sexual Assault, MOCASA. MCADSV.com, Montana Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. NDVSAC.org, Nebraska Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Coalition, NDVSAC. NCASV.org, Nevada Coalition Against Sexual Violence. NHCADSV.org, New Hampshire Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. NewJerseyCASA.org, New Jersey Coalition Against Sexual Assault. SWCP.com/NMCSOS, New Mexico Coalition of Sexual Assault Programs. NYSCASA.org, New York State Coalition Against Sexual Assault. NewYorkCAgainstRape.org, New York City Alliance Against Sexual Assault. NCCASA.org, North Carolina Coalition Against Sexual Assault. NDCAUSE.org, North Dakota Coalition Against Sexual Assault. OCOSA.org, Ohio Coalition on Sexual Assault. OCADSV.com, Oregon Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. PCAR.org, Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape. SATRC.org, Rhode Island Sexual Assault Coalition. SCCADVASA.org, South Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. SDNAFVSA.com, South Dakota Network Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault. TCADSV.org, Tennessee Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. TASA.org, Texas Association Against Sexual Assault. VTNetwork.org, Vermont Network Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. VASA.org, Virginians Aligned Against Sexual Assault. WCSDX.com, Women's Coalition of St. Croix. WCSAP.org, Washington Coalition of Sexual Assault Programs. Fridays.org, West Virginia Foundation for Rape Information and Services, WVFRIS. WCASA.org, Wisconsin Coalition Against Sexual Assault, WCASA. Wyoming Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. Chapter 2. A Sexual Assault Domestic Violence Organization Guide 1. National Coalition Against Sexual Assault /NCASA. National Coalition Against Sexual Assault, NCASA. National HQ. 110 Connecticut Boulevard East. Hartford, Connecticut 06108. 860-282-9881. NCASA@redrose.net. ConsACS.org. NSACS.org. NCASA.org. Call for referrals to local centers. Pick the closest region to where you live and call during normal, working hours. Utica, New York. 315-797-7740. Annapolis, Maryland. 301-224-1321. Minneapolis, Minnesota. 612-824-2864. Atlanta, Georgia. 404-588-4861. Denver, Colorado. 303-329-9922. Seattle, Washington. 206-634-3652. St. Louis, IL. 618-398-7764. Sex Crime Organization websites. abc.easynet.tools.net/d302506/x329849/index.html, Rape Response and Crime Victim Center, information about rape, sexual assault, harassment, and what to do in each of those cases. Antichildporn.org, anti-child porn organization, volunteer organization aiming to stop the sexual exploitation of the world's children. Offers the Reveal software for download, resources for parents, white papers, and press. ATSA.com, Association for the Treatment of Sexual Abusers, professional organization of clinicians and researchers providing treatment to the sex offender population. See COSO.org, COSO, the California Coalition on Sexual Offending, organization of representatives from law enforcement, criminal justice, mental health, and community services that deal with the significant and complex cross-disciplinary issues related to sexual offending. CPIU.US, Counter Pedophilia Investigative Unit, a coalition of computer experts, law enforcement agents, and counter-pedophilia experts aiming to fight the sexual offenses of pedophiles and child pornography on the Internet. CSOM.org, Center for Sex Offender Management, U.S. national program in support of local programs working to prevent child sexual abuse through more effective treatment of offenders. FloridaActionCommittee.org, Florida Action Committee, aims to educate the media, public, and legislators with facts versus myths about offenders. Features true stories, advocacy news, resources, and a section to ask a question. IATSO.org, International Association for the Treatment of Sexual Offenders, sponsors the biennial international conferences on the treatment of sexual offenders, ICSO. SaferSociety.org, Safer Society Foundation, a national research, advocacy, and referral center on the prevention and treatment of sexual abuse. SEXUAL-ASSAULT.ca, Sexual Assault Survivors, information regarding the legal aspects of sexual assault in Canada, from the Toronto law firm, Jelinek, Thomas. VoiceForVictims.org, Arizona Voice for Crime Victims, information for crime victims, lawyers, and law students, people working in the field of victims' rights and the general public. CrimeVictimFoundation.org, the Crime Victim Foundation, Michigan, a non-profit organization that provides last resort assistance to crime victims in Michigan who have an immediate and critical need. CrimeVictims.net, Crime Victims for a Just Society, an organization for victims of crimes to work together to create a more just society, using outreach, education, and training. CVCLV.org, Crime Victims Council of the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania organization helping and advocating for the rights and welfare of those whose lives have been directly affected by crime. Information about services, hotline, and events, and crime statistics. DoorsOfHope.com, Doors of Hope, provides support information for victims of abuse, bullying, violence and sudden death. From BC, Canada. DOVE-WA.org, Dignity of Victims Everywhere, offers resources, support and help for victims of violent crime. FamiliesFightingForJustice.com, Families Fighting for Justice, formed to campaign against short or non-existent prison sentences for murderers. Provides members stories and news. British. JagsFoundation.co.uk, Jags Foundation, aims to raise awareness of youth on youth violence. Provides information on their background, their ongoing projects and pictures and videos. London, UK, based. JusticeCoalition.org, Justice Coalition for Victims' Rights. The coalition was formed to bring back the rights of the victims of crimes in Jacksonville, Florida. NMSO.org, New Mexico Survivors of Homicide, provides support for the community and survivors of homicide through peer support, memorials, unsolved case pages and information about grieving and the criminal justice system. NVCAP.org, National Victims Constitutional Amendment Passage, promoting federal constitutional rights to ensure that crime victims are treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. POMC.com, National Organization of Parents of Murdered Children, Inc., POMC is a self-help group dedicated to helping the families and friends of those who have lost their lives to violence. QHVSG.org.au, Queensland Homicide Victims Support Group in Queensland, Australia, formed for education and advocacy in addition to support. Trinova.org, National Organization for Victim Assistance, NOVA provides victim and witness assistance programs for practitioners, criminal justice agencies, professionals, former victims, and survivors. Victimsofcrime.org, National Center for Victims of Crime, a non-profit organization providing resource and advocacy for victims of crime in the United States. Support and legal resources for various types of crime, a directory of victim assistance programs, and information about the victims' rights movement in public policy. victimsupport.org.uk, Victim Support, helps survivors of crime or traumatic events. Provides information about such things as rights and dealing with the media. British charity. victimsupportsco.org.uk, Victim Support Scotland, includes directory of local contacts, helpline information and details of their multi-language assistance. voc.sa.gov.au, Victims of Crime Coordinator of South Australia, a resource for victims, their families and support service providers for victims across the world. EndSexualViolenceCECT.org, Connecticut Alliance to End Sexual Violence, statewide sexual assault information, publications and service hotlines offering training and public awareness programs to Connecticut residents. JaneDoeKnowMore.org, Jane Doe Know More, organization of law enforcement, medical, legal, and victims service professionals dedicated to ensuring the proper treatment of sexual assault victims. Features a resource center, legislative efforts, history, and expert views. OneVoiceEnterprises.com, OneVoice Enterprises Victory Over Impossible Circumstances, Speakers Bureau for Education, Awareness, and Prevention of Sexual Abuse, Harassment and Violence. parents_united.tripod.com, Parents United, Orange County. This is a non-profit organization that offers counseling and other services to families affected by sexual abuse. Contains newsletter, information about sex offender treatment, chapter and contact listings, and legislation information. PCAR.org, Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape, contains campaign and support information, articles, and quizzes, and the opportunity to purchase resources and merchandise. RAIN.org, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, RAIN, anti-sexual assault organization working with local rape crisis centers across the U.S. Also has a web-based crisis hotline providing live and anonymous support. Carries out programs to prevent sexual assault, help victims, and ensure that rapists are brought to justice. rapecrisis.org.uk, Rape Crisis Federation, Wales and England, provides facilities and resources to enable the continuance and development of rape crisis groups. Includes a map of member groups, statistics and facts, and details of relevant law. SaferCampus.org, Safer, Students Active for Ending Rape is an organization at Columbia University which has campaigned for and achieved a new university sexual misconduct policy. Contains information about the campaign. SatCOntario.com, Ontario Network of Sexual Assault Care and Treatment Centres, information about the services offered at sexual assault care and treatment centres in Ontario as well as information about sexual assault and domestic violence. SOAR99.org, SOAR, Speaking Out About Rape is the campaign home of Kelly Green, a survivor activist. Contains Kelly's speaking engagements, media involvements, legal campaigns, biography, and a survivor message board. waveaw.ca, Wave or Rape Crisis Center, Women Against Violence Against Women Rape Crisis Center is based in Vancouver, BC, working to provide services to women who have been victimized through sexual violence. Includes the history, current events, support, and an email list. Aware.org, Arming Women Against Rape and Endangerment, Aware, a non-profit safety organization in Massachusetts explains how it teaches women various methods of self-defense and empowerment. ChildLuresPrevention.com, Child Lures, award-winning program has been keeping children safe from sexual abuse and abduction for over 15 years, information for parents, children, and educators. DataRapePrevention.truman.edu, Date Rape Prevention, information about risk factors and preventive scripts for potential victims. Based on a dissertation by Drive. Albert J. Whites. ISIS.OST.com/RTN, Reclaim the Night, International March and Rally Against Sexual Violence for Women and Children held on the last Friday evening of October every year. It is known in some countries as Take Back the Night. MenCanStopRape.org, Men Can Stop Rape, empowers male youth and the institutions that serve them to work as allies with women in preventing rape and other forms of men's violence. spaz.ca/aaron/billy/r/chapter22.html, 1 sex offenders strategy, a description of the methods used by one sex offender, intending to illustrate that sexual offenses are often premeditated, predatory acts of manipulation, deceit, intimidation, and careful planning. Rape organization websites. JustDetention.org, Just Detention International, committed to combating the rape of male and female prisoners and to helping survivors of jailhouse rape. MenCanStopRape.org, Men Can Stop Rape. When some men commit violence against women, all men pay a price. RINJ.org, Rape is No Joke Foundation, works on prevention and offers support and healthcare to survivors. Supplies a form for reporting sexual violence during war and an application for a rape kit for professional agencies. SaferCampus.org, Students Active for Ending Rape, Columbia University student organization which has achieved a groundbreaking new sexual assault policy that serves as a model for all colleges. Chapter 3. A Sexual Assault Domestic Violence Organization Guide to Sexual Abuse Organization websites. End Sexual Violence CECT.org, Connecticut Alliance to End Sexual Violence, statewide sexual assault information, publications, and service hotlines offering training and public awareness programs to Connecticut residents. JaneDoeNoMore.org, Jane Doe No More, organization of law enforcement, medical, legal, and victims service professionals dedicated to ensuring the proper treatment of sexual assault victims. Features a resource center, legislative efforts, history, and expert views. OneVoiceEnterprises.com, One Voice Enterprises Victory Over Impossible Circumstances, Speakers Bureau for Education, Awareness, and Prevention of Sexual Abuse, Harassment and Violence. PARENTS_UNITED.tripod.com, Parents United, Orange County. This is a non-profit organization that offers counseling and other services to families affected by sexual abuse. Contains newsletter, information about sex offender treatment, chapter and contact listings, and legislation information. PCAR.org, Pennsylvania Coalition Against Rape, contains campaign and support information, articles, and quizzes, and the opportunity to purchase resources and merchandise. RAIN.org, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, RAIN, anti-sexual assault organization working with local rape crisis centers across the U.S. Also has a web-based crisis hotline providing live and anonymous support. Carries out programs to prevent sexual assault, help victims, and ensure that rapists are brought to justice. rapecrisis.org.uk, Rape Crisis Federation, Wales and England, provides facilities and resources to enable the continuance and development of rape crisis groups. Includes a map of member groups, statistics and facts, and details of relevant law. SaferCampus.org, Safer, Students Active for Ending Rape is an organization at Columbia University which has campaigned for and achieved a new university sexual misconduct policy. Contains information about the campaign. SatCOntario.com, Ontario Network of Sexual Assault Care and Treatment Centres, information about the services offered at sexual assault care and treatment centres in Ontario as well as information about sexual assault and domestic violence. SOAR99.org, SOAR, Speaking Out About Rape is the campaign home of Kelly Green, a survivor activist. Contains Kelly's speaking engagements, media involvements, legal campaigns, biography, and a survivor message board. WaveAW.ca, Wave or Rape Crisis Center, Women Against Violence Against Women Rape Crisis Center is based in Vancouver, BC, working to provide services to women who have been victimized through sexual violence. Includes the history, current events, support, and an email list. Sexual abuse organizations. FCASV.org, Florida Council Against Sexual Violence, resources for those who have been victims of sexual violence and for those who provide support to victims of sexual violence. JustDetention.org, Just Detention International, committed to combating the rape of male and female prisoners and to helping survivors of jailhouse rape. mencanstoprape.org, Men Can Stop Rape. When some men commit violence against women, all men pay a price. raperecovery.com, raperecovery.com, emotional, spiritual, physical, and sexual recovery from rape for victims, their family, and friends. Support, information, and referral resources for victims and victim services professionals alike. SafeHorizon.org, Safe Horizon, 24-hour hotlines serving victims of domestic violence, incest, rape, sexual assault, elder abuse, and other crimes. SafePlaceMerseyside.org.uk, Safe Place Merseyside, British Sexual Assault Referral Centre. Provides information about what happens at the centre, police involvement, and what happens next. SaferCampus.org, Students Active for Ending Rape, Columbia University student organization which has achieved a groundbreaking new sexual assault policy that serves as a model for all colleges. Women's Violence and Abuse Organization websites. AmericanBar.org/groups/domestic_violence.html, American Bar Association, training and educational materials to attorneys and other professionals who serve victims of domestic violence and abuse. Justice.gov/OVW, Department of Justice Violence Against Women Office, hyperlinked text of the Violence Against Women Act and other legal information. Metracy.org, METRAC, Metropolitan Action Committee on Violence Against Women and Children, a non-profit organization deals with the rights of women and children to live free of violence and abuse. VAW organization websites. DVAlianza.org. Alianza, the National Latino Alliance for the Elimination of Domestic Violence. apiahf.org/index.php/program/domestic-violence.html, Asian and Pacific Islander Institute on Domestic Violence. ATISK.org, Asian Task Force Against Domestic Violence. faithtrustinstitute.org, the Faith Trust Institute training and educational resources for clergy, lay leaders, seminary faculty, chaplains, policy makers of religious institutions and community advocates on the faith aspects of sexual and domestic violence. Feminist.org, Feminist Majority Foundation. FuturesWithoutViolence.org, Futures Without Violence. INCITE-NATIONAL.org. Insight, Women of Color Against Violence. DVInstitute.org, Institute on Domestic Violence in the African American Community. NCDSV.org, National Center on Domestic and Sexual Violence. NCADV.org, National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. ncavp.org/about/default.aspx, National Coalition of Anti-Violence Programs, a coalition of over 20 lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender victim advocacy and documentation programs. NationalCompadresNetwork.com, National Compadres Network, the positive involvement of Latino males. NDVH.org, National Domestic Violence Hotline. NGLTF.org, National Gay and Lesbian Task Force. NorthNortheastDV.org, National Network to End Domestic Violence Network of State Organizations. MaleSurvivor.org, National Organization on Male Sexual Victimization. NRCDV.org, National Resource Center on Domestic Violence. ResourcesHaringProject.org, National Sexual Assault Coalition Resource Sharing Project helps state sexual assault coalitions across the country access the resources they need in order to develop and thrive. NSVRC.org, National Sexual Violence Resource Center. now.issues/violence/index.html, Now and Violence Against Women. Prevent.unc.edu. Prevent facilitate the change process by providing education, networking and technical assistance. RAIN.org, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network. SANE-SART.com, Sexual Assault Nurse Examiner / Sexual Assault Response Team. WitnessJustice.org. Witness Justice addresses the gaps in service experienced by survivors of violence and trauma. National Organization of Women Anti-Violence websites. NowPAC.org, Now Political Action Committee. NOW.org. Facebook.com/NationalNow. YouTube.com/user/Now Videos. Flickr.com/photos/nationalnow/sets+.google.com/10186473196675111020. now.org/issues/stopping-violence-against-women. now.org/issues/stopping-violence-against-women/blog. now.org/issues/stopping-violence-against-women/news. now.org/issues/stopping-violence-against-women/resources. now.org/blog/we-can-no-longer-violence-violence-effects-women-of-color. now.org/blog/what-you-need-to-the-sexual-abuse-to-prison-pipeline. now.org/blog/let's-get-real-about-gun-violence-and-women. now.org/blog/the-hunting-ground-documentary-sexual-assault-has-become-institutionalized. now.org/blog/author/Area Bolanos Perea. now.org/read-this/domestic-violence-has-a-huge-impact-on-the-wage-gap. now.org/media-center/press-release/essay-name-Loriel-Tsing-ine-and-Korean-gains. now.org/media-center/press-release/now-statement-on-the-Minnesota-Baton-Rouge-and-Dallas. now.org/media-center/press-release/justice-is-denied-but-she's-not-the-only-one. now.org/resource/issue-advisory-demanded-for-widespread-sexual-harassment-national-park-service. now.org/resource/untested-rape-kits-pile-up-hinder-judicial-process. now.org/resource/RFRA-laws-undermine-civil-rights-child-domestic-violence-laws. now.org/Supreme-Court-case-domestic-violence-and-housing. Europe VAW. WomenLobby.org. Chapter 4. A Sexual Assault Domestic Violence Organization Guide 3. National Resource Center on Domestic Violence links. nrcdv.org. National Resource Center on Domestic Violence. 6041 Lingelstown Road, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. 17112 1101 Vermont Avenue. NW number 400, Washington, D.C. 20005. 800-537-2238 TTY 1-800-553-2508 Fax 717-545-9456. docs.nrcdv.org/pages/dv services. DV services. nrcdv.org/ace-dv, ACE adult children exposed to domestic violence. nrcdv.org/rhydv toolkit, runaway and homeless youth toolkit. vanity.org, VANET Violence Against Women Resource Library. dvevidenceproject.org, Domestic Violence Evidence Project. nrcdv.org/dvam, Domestic Violence Awareness Project. bcsdv.org, BCSDV Building Comprehensive Solutions. ndvh.org. National Domestic Violence Hotline, 800 799 7233, TTY 800 787 3224. RAIN.org. Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, RAIN, Hotline, 800 656 4673. Loveisrespect.org. National Teen Dating Abuse Helpline, 866 331 9474, TTY 866 331 8453. Vanity.org. Twitter.com/Vanity. Facebook.com/Vanity.org. News.vanity.org. Kane.udel.edu. Clearinghouse on Abuse and Neglect of the Elderly. ncall.us. National Clearinghouse on Abuse in Later Life. ncea.aoa.gov/nceroute/main_site/index.aspx, National Center on Elder Abuse. preventeldrabus.org/communities/best.html, National Committee for the Prevention of Elder Abuse. acf.hhs.gov/programs/FISB/programs/family-violence-prevention-services, Family Violence Prevention and Services Program. cdc.gov/injury/index.html, National Center on Injury Prevention and Control, National Center on Injury Prevention and Control. cdc.gov, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. ncipc/cdc. nrcdv.org/dvam, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. nsvrc.org/som, Sexual Assault Awareness Month. teendvmonth.org, Teen Violence Awareness Month. stalkingawarenessmonth.org, National Stalking Awareness Month. Faith-based VAW organizations. bcd6.org. The Black Church and Domestic Violence Institute. hhs.gov/fbci. The Center for Faith-Based Community Initiatives. faithtrustinstitute.org. The Faith Trust Institute. jwi.org. Jewish Women International. ncjw.org. National Council of Jewish Women. interfaithpartners.org. Safe Havens Interfaith Partnership Against Domestic Violence. acf.hhs.gov/programs/FISB/programs/family-violence-prevention-services, Family Violence Prevention and Services Program. A Celebration of Women.org. List of humanitarian organizations. A Celebration of Women.org. Twitter.com/acelebrationofw. A Celebration of Women.org/humanitarian-agency-list. aah-usa.org, Action Against Hunger. careusa.org, CARE. CARE is one of the world's largest private international humanitarian organizations. Caritas.org, Caritas Internationalis. Caritas Internationalis is a confederation of 162 Catholic relief, development, and social service organizations. Geneva.ch/crs_uscc.hdm, Catholic Relief Services. dwb.org, Doctors Without Borders, Doctors Without Borders. ENNonline.net, Emergency Nutrition Network, ENN, based in Dublin, Ireland, UK, improve the effectiveness of emergency food and nutrition interventions. FH.org, Food for the Hungry International, FHI, Food for the Hungry is an international relief and development organization of Christian motivation. HungerPlus.org, Hunger Plus, provides food and related supplies for emergency use. Partners with individuals, NGOs, government agencies, church, and civic groups. Interaction.org, Interaction, over 150 US-based non-profit organizations which are usually the first to respond to a crisis. ICRC.org, International Committee of the Red Cross, ICRC, endeavors to promote fundamental human values. IFRC.org, International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC. IOM.int, International Organization for Migration, IOM, humane and orderly migration benefits migrants and society. Theirc.org, International Rescue Committee, IRC, resettlement assistance, advocacy for refugees. LutheranWorld.org, Lutheran World Federation. MennoniteCC.ca, Mennonite Central Committee, MCC, sends people, food, and material goods to communities recovering from war and natural disasters. MercyCorps.org, non-profit organization providing emergency relief and supporting development programs. ODI.org.uk, Overseas Development Institute, ODI. Oxfam.org, working to end poverty. RefINTL.org, Refugees International Life-Saving Humanitarian Assistance and Protection for Displaced People. RI.org, Relief International provides emergency, rehabilitation, and development services. SaveTheChildren.org, Save the Children change for children in need in the United States and around the world. USAID.gov/r_work/humanitarian_assistance/disaster_assistance, the Office of U.S. Foreign Disaster Assistance, OFDA, providing non-food humanitarian assistance in response to international crises and disasters. UNICEF.org, United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, the survival, protection, and development of children. UNHCR.ch, United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees provides protection and assistance to the world's refugees. OCHAonline.un.org, Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, to meet in a coherent and timely manner the needs of those exposed to human suffering and material destruction in disasters and emergencies. Refugees.org, U.S. Committee for Refugees, USCR. WorldVision.org, a Christian relief and development organization dedicated to helping children and their communities by tackling the causes of poverty. ReliefWeb.int, comprehensive directory of humanitarian organizations. StopVA.org/NGO_databases lists of women's organizations worldwide. AARwomen.org/English/links.html, Alliance of American and Russian Women resource links. NGOC.am, Armenian Assembly. OWL.ru/ENG/women/AEWO/index.htm, Association of the Women's Organizations. Kango.net.kg/db/navigate.asp ? Country =CA, Central Asia NGO Network Database. civilsoc.org/east, Civil Society International Central and Eastern Europe Organizations. civilsoc.org/nisorg/nicewomen.htm, Civil Society International Women's Organizations by country. wave-network.org/main_frame_ic.html, European Info Center Against Violence Wave Database. Europe.or.at/memberbrowser.php, European Network for Democracy Project. apcwomen.org/gem/whoc.htm, Gender Evaluation Methodology Tester Profiles Summaries and Contact Information for Major Women's NGOs in C. distal.ca/womlist/womlist.html, Global List of Women's Organizations. hotpeac.net/a/countries.html, hotpeach pages Global Inventory of Domestic Violence Services. carrot.org/about_member_organizations.html, Coalition Regional Coalition of Women's NGOs. neww.org.pl/en.php/home/index/0.html, Network of East-West Women Poland. ngo.org/ngo_database.html. ngo.by/n, Belarusian non-governmental organizations. owl.ru/eng/women/index.htm, Open Women Line home pages of women's organizations and projects Russia. peacewomen.org/contacts/conindex.html, Peace Women Contacts. Russia.privatizationlink.com/English/links/gennetwork.cfm, privatization link Russia, project opportunities in the Russian Federation. Digzis.bg/ngo/ Union of Bulgarian Foundations and Associations. Arbeck.undp.org, United Nations Development Programme Eastern Europe and CIS Sub-Regional Resource Facility. Rewindnet.org/asp/indochomu.htm, Women's Information and Document Center, Regional Women's Directory Database. womnet.ru/db/english/english.html, Women's Information Network, the Russian Federation. womenwagingpeace.net/content/links/eu.asp, Women Waging Peace, organizations concerned with women's involvement in peace-building efforts. worldlearning.am/links/ngo_pages.html, World Learning Armenia, NGO Strengthening Program, NGO websites. wmd.org/action/og-sep02/links.html, World Movement for Democracy, Women's